Inside Out.
Kale, alright, nkwaniza ku the Inside Out nga bulijjo ku SML News Yugi kwe tusinzira okuweereza ebirungi n'olwaleero nate njagala kwaniza mu y'olwaleero mwebale obubaka bwammwe mwebale ebimuwandiika ebimutubiddamu ate nga n'ebirala tujja kwongera okubyetegereza okulaba tusobola okukyusamu. Nkwaniza ku y'olwaleero nga bulijjo nze Sir Simon Muyanga Lutaaya. Ndine mukwano gwammwe Godber Tumushabe. I do not want to attempt to introduce you because every other time you are changing addresses. So other people remember a code, then there is this other one which came up and the others. Where are you now?
Where am I?
If I'm looking for Godber, what would be the right address?
Okay, so basically as you said, nali nkola n'ekitongole kye bayita code. Kiri awo ku Kamwo Chao Kanjo cha street nga tukola public policy, tukola research nga tuyamba government mu continent ya feno ya Africa kukola policies enunje ziyamba abantu. Mwaka gwa 2013 nenvayo nentakinga ale retirement nenvayo kati ntandika ekitongole ekirala bachita Great Lakes Institute for Strategic Studies.
Yes.
Mu bufunze watu tuchita GLIS. So GLIS ne GLIS naye tukola research nga kiri kyenali ndimu naye for GLIS to focusing nnyo ku regional issues ezikwata ku amawanga ga Great Lakes region. Waliwo amawanga 12 nga Uganda, kuva Uganda, DRC, Sudan, Egypt, Kenya, Ethiopia. So ekyo kitundu ekyo kya East Africa ne honi waliwo amawanga 12 tugaita Great Lakes sub-region. So ekitongole kyaffe mwe kikola nkola ku n'ebirala nga kuva mu kitongole kino offices zaffe ziri e Nigeria 1 mu Chira Town Council, our Wakiso district. We are always proud that we are in Wakiso because sometimes Kampala can be a lot of stress.
It looks like Kampala. You're in Wakiso.
Yeah, we are
already.
in Wakiso, yeah.
Jesus Christ. So we have crossed 2 districts to get to you. Wonderful. You are normally addressed as a known Museveni critic. How does it sound in your ears?
No, to be honest, I'm a Museveni critic. Kubanga kyengeza ko kubulira abantu ebiseera bingi gamba nga Museveni we yajja wano nga amaze kulwana olutalo 1986. I had just finished my S4. So I was one of those young people that were excited about the dawn of this new era. The fundamental change Museveni je yatugamba awo nga ayimiridde ku stairs za parliament yafaawo. Yeah? And the truth is that for us who lived under, because my childhood was lived under Idi Amin, so we knew where the limitations were, what was going on. Then we went through the 1979 war, and then of course we went into the rebellion, Museveni's rebellion of the early 1980s. So by 1986, really, at my age and level of education, you could see that eggwanga lyaffe lyali teriteredde.
That is true.
Ebintu byonna nga bicyankalanye.
Buli kimu kiri gye kyagala.
So Museveni najja wano n'abantu be ne batereeza eggwanga ne bagezako ne baleetako security. Ndowooza myaka 10 eyasooka kuva 86 mpaka 96. Ndowooza Museveni n'abantu be yajja nabo bakola omulimu munene. Of course, we have to also recognize that most of Uganda, south, west, central was stable. Of course, we still had a war going on in eastern and northern Uganda where really our people died really en masse and the violence that was there. But generally, so wakugamba nti waliwo ebintu ebyali bitereddemu, economy ng'etambula bulungi ng'egenda mu maaso. Tuli mu process ya kukola constitution nga ebintu bitambula bulungi kutuusa 1995 bwe twadoptinga constitution. So kwegamba someone as young as myself and who has lived now the 10 years of Museveni, I've studied now I'm at university, so I'm really excited about what he was doing. So mu 1996 akalulu akasooka ketwakolera ku constitution.
Yes.
Nali ndiye Makerere nga nkola degree yange ya masters eyokusooka.
Okay.
I was doing a master's degree in law. So then the campaigns came. Then Museveni was contesting against Paul Kawanga Semwogerere. And you know, umanya kavuyo ka campus, campus ya opposition.
Ngamukole fujo mbisere. Beri student ndimanya mwe muliwo mwatulekanira ne mutusumbua.
Kata abana bali supporting Mzee Semwogerere balina Kerere.
True that.
Nga bakuba Kerere netulaba kati nengamba so kati now me I was a Musevenist
at that time. So you have ever been a Musevenist?
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I was a Musevenist really. 1996 Simon, I did campaign for Museveni day and night. I was the chairman of the postgraduate hall, which is called DAG.
Yes.
DAG Hamashon Hall. I was the chairman of the hall. And one time I said, but how is it possible that our candidate is the president and yet we don't have presence at campus? The opposition, the interparty cooperation has overwhelmed us. So I said, no way, this is not happening. The truth is that when I put my mind to doing something, I give it all my best.
I know.
Once I said, this is good, I can do it. Yeah. So I just said, no, we are going to turn this situation around. I think it didn't take me more than 3 weeks to turn around the campus with. I worked with, there are a couple of guys that I worked with. Some of them, they are now in government, others are retired.
They're eating. You are just outside.
I don't even know whether
watching.
they're eating.
They're eating. You are watching. You're outside watching.
Yeah. But essentially, I was able to work out a strategy, mobilize a couple of colleagues. We launched a very aggressive campaign, and we were able to turn around the campus. True. Now, one of the highlights I normally mention is that we at the peak of the campaigns, twasinkana ne Mwami Museveni eyo Luwero. Yali ana campaign Luwero ne tugendayo twa meeting kusawa kuva sawa 7 gw'ekiro kutuuka nga sawa nga 9 and we had our discussions. Of course, really, you are not saying much. The important thing is that you've met with the candidate.
That's it.
No big deal.
It's a privilege.
Yeah, it's a privilege. But after our discussion, I was asked to make remarks as the head of the delegation. So I have never forgotten. I always recount to people what one of the things I said in my short remarks. So I told the president, I said, Your Excellency, I want you to share your ambitions of contesting for another term of office so that you can focus on fighting corruption. So I said, if you don't do it, some of us will be contesting against you in the next elections.
How bold?
Yeah, because you know, amanyi gesomero gamanyi. By that, I also say, when I finished my bachelor's degree, I worked in government in the fisheries department of Ministry of Agriculture.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my first job. My first job was a fisheries officer, licensing and law enforcement. I should have been on the lake catching all those.
And there's money now. You missed out.
But I don't.
There's money now.
I don't earn money that way, Simon.
These are making money. Fish has become gold. You left gold, and
I think my character still wouldn't allow me to do those kinds of things. So in other words, as I campaigned for Museveni, I was not expecting any favors or gain, because I had already concluded that the government of Uganda is so inefficient, I can't work with it.
No, that's a big statement.
No, it is, because I know what I was going through in the fisheries department. I know the money, these things that you normally call relate to release, money used to come in Ministry of Agriculture around 20th, 22nd, 23rd. And then we would be asked to write those minutes and say, I went to the field for 5 nights so that we can claim some money. But we never went to the field.
Are you sure?
Absolutely. So after about a year or so, I said, but this is really cheating. Eh?
Keep lying.
We do our work plans to go and do work. There is no money. We never do it. The money comes, we share it. And then the second thing, of course, I'm always inquisitive. The second thing was like, but the guys who are asking to put in 5 nights, they never tell us how many nights do they put in.
On top of your 5.
Yeah. So for me, they are saying I put in 5.
Yes,
but for them, how many has he put in?
No, you can't work in the government. They will call you Lugezi.
No, so I told my boss then, the head of licensing and law enforcement, I said he was a gentleman called Mr. Chiza. And I said, you know, Mr. Chiza, I think I'm no longer interested in this money because I've not worked for it, so I'm not going to apply for it. Yeah. But just fast forward, so I tell Museveni because I was not looking for a job in campaigning for him. I was not looking for any favors. I believed that after the new constitution was adopted, as a young lawyer, you know, excited about law, I was like, yeah, we need President Museveni to run this country for another 5 years to stabilize the new constitutional order so that he can now hand over the country to run on autopilot almost. So that was my...
Back to the steps of Parliament. 1986.
Yeah.
Where Mr. Museveni promises a fundamental change.
Yeah.
Luckily, you were not an adult, but you were an adult.
I was an adult. At
so
S4.
You had to say for you.
Remember that I started primary 1 at age 9. Yeah.
So you were an adult.
You were an adult, yeah.
Let us look at what has happened over time. What part of that fundamental change have you not witnessed to be a Museveni critic today? What is it that he has not done?
No, so my criticism, my being a critic of Museveni started exactly after the elections in 1996. Immediately after swearing in at Kororo. You know what he did?
Tell me.
President Museveni's first major policy decision after swearing in at Kororo was to go to Parliament to ask to increase cabinet. So I tell Uganda, I say, literally, President Museveni amended Uganda's constitution before its first anniversary. Because Ugandans had gone through over 5 years of negotiating a new compact, a new social contract. We all said part of the governments that come in, they try to do these, they build patronage net systems, and the cabinet was part of building the patronage. You know, when Museveni, by 1994 or 93, when the first public service reform program was completed, Museveni had reached a cabinet of 81 ministers. So it is the public service reform program that cut them down back to 40.
Ebana kizibu kinga waliwo emirimu egyokola. Godber. Obana buzibu kinga waliwo emirimu egyokola. Gwe bw'ositula entebe eno wekka n'ekulema. Oyita Teddy jangu nkwatireko. Bwe tulema ababiri. Noga nti muyanga jangu nkwatireko. What's wrong with it?
No. So
is it the number or what it has to do?
It's both. It's both. You see, this seat en entebe eno gy'olaba. Musobola kusala muntu tekuliko mirimu abantu 5 kabagisitule.
Yes.
Buli omu afuneko kafunako. But you also know nti tusobola kuteekako Godber n'asitula entebe ne tumusasula omutwalo gumu. Simon n'amuvinga ziri blocks wali ne tumusasula ezize. Teddy n'akola kino ne tumusasula katumulina emirimu nga 10 ng'ekoleddwa. Problem eriko bw'okwata abantu 10 kusitula entebe eno omulundi gumu bona babula coordination. Ojja kusanga buli omu aspendize energy ewerako. So mugokozesa calories let's say katugambe 10 kusitula entebe emu mukozesa calories 10 kusitula entebe emu. Ate these other 90 calories could have been used doing something, because this is how countries run. So, but leave alone the numbers.
You know you have never been president, right?
No.
You have never been president, right?
But I know presidents and I study them. And I can say this president is doing a good job, the other one is doing a fake job. This one is cheating, the other one is not cheating. Like Museveni's cabinet, it's totally cheating. Museveni's cabinet, you are cheating. You have a Minister of Finance with the main minister, and every department has a minister. But also in the ministry, you have commissioners. and all the commissioners have people below them. All those 4 guys who are deputy ministers, they could even be sent somewhere in Busoga, in Ankore, you go and grow coffee. Instead of sitting there, duplicating what the commissioner is doing, you go and grow coffee, you add 1 extra bag.
Why don't you have faith in the man who is managing this cabinet and surely knows that there's a lot of work that he needs more people to help him? Because he's handling it. Baganda say, atamukute yagamba nti muyanga nyweza nti nedda tonna musajja aserera buserezi. Kankugambe luli nakugamba twasinkana wano ngaba na Uganda emyaka 5 nga tukola constitution. Twena twakirizaganya nti kino kintu kya cabinet government zone zavaako zazikikozesa creating distortions mu ggwanga. Ne tukirizaganya nti cabinet enokubeera na ministers abiri mu ne deputy ministers abiri mu. I can assure you, Simon, that if I had the opportunity to run this country, most likely I would be running it with some 15 ministers. You can't.
You can. Okay, what do ministers do? You tell our viewers. Ministers bakola ki mulimu bwagenda mu office ku macha sawa 2.
Political supervision.
Supervising what?
Supervising projects nyingi government zekola katugeze wogenda minister ngeye ebyobulamu yokka program ekwata ku TB nene ekomeno ekwata ku sirimu nene ekomeno. So
supervising political supervision ya TB obokola ki? What is your output?
Okulabanga enteekateeka ezireetedwa okulwanyisa obulwadde bwa TB zitambulanga bwe ziteekeddwa. Okulanga ensimbi eziteekwa okusaasaanyizibwa ku pulogulaamu eyo zisaasaanyizanga.
Ogenda mu Minister of Finance ku distributinga ssente oba ozisaasaanyiza ota gwe nga minister?
Kulaba be baziwadde nga bakola omulimu gwe baziwadde okukola.
Ate oli chairman wa LC5 ali mu district yaffe yakola ki?
Kikyotegeeza Godber.
Waliwo chairman eriko abantu abalwazi ba TB bali mu district yaffe Ntungamo.
Yes.
Tulinayo chairman wa LC5 ne councillors abalala.
Yes, eriyo n'amalwaliro.
Lwaki nyetaaga minister kugenda Ntungamo kulaba nti sente zaweebwa zasaasanyizibwa. I am telling you the distortions. But let me go back. So the problem with Museveni actually is not even in the number of cabinet ministers. The problem is having a president, whether that president was a Museveni, a Muyanga Lutaya, who signs the constitution and say the people of Uganda have agreed to be governed this way. And before the first anniversary of this compact, you have changed it.
Because there was a necessity too. There was a necessity too.
When you woke up this morning. Do you also remember that he went to ask for the increase in the number of cabinet ministers before he appointed the 42? Do you remember that?
I remember.
So what was the necessity? You have not appointed what the law has given you, and you have not seen that there is a gap. So why are you putting there more people?
Godber realizes that this morning when you woke up, you only had milk and bread for your family. Around 10 o'clock, Simon Muyanga Lutaya and Teddy and Matthias added themselves on your budget. No, so you must adjust it accordingly.
Which budget?
Your home budget. Today's budget should be adjusted.
But Ugandans had not changed. I'm saying this is first anniversary. When we adopted the constitution, we were probably around only 28 to 30 million people, or even less. So in before 1 year of the constitution, you are saying now you have more people coming to eat on the dining table.
Okay.
Is that what you are saying? In 1 year, before even 1 year, you have more people. That is the you see that is you see leadership. The leadership, you have to if you don't have honest and trustworthy leaders, you cannot make progress. Leaders must be trusted. I always tell government of Uganda people and tell them, I said, the biggest challenge right now, by the way, let me give you advice here, because I know you have been trying to be a politician, Simon.
Yes,
you may want to be president.
I've attempted.
So today,
I fear that.
Today, if a miracle happened and you are president of Uganda, the most important action Joe Kola is not to go and say, I am going to run a very powerful healthcare program or I'm doing this education, the first important action is what do you do to rebuild trust of citizens in the government? There is a total breakdown of trust between citizens and the government.
Where?
In this country right now.
When?
Yeah?
When?
So when
after every 5 years they renew the mandate of the same government.
Simon,
If they had no trust, why do they keep reviewing?
Now you're going to make me angry.
No, I should.
You've seen people walking out from interviews.
Yes, I should, but I should. Because what's the renewal?
So look here, Simon. I've said time and again, if you have a country where people have to kill each other, where citizens have to be killed for you to elect a president, you need to know that you are getting to a level where you are subhuman, you as a people. Yeah? From 2001, this regime of Museveni has unleashed violence on our people to organize elections. People have been tortured. People have been kidnapped until 2021, when people had to be killed on our streets for you to elect a president. So when I hear Ugandans say, oh, you know, the mandate has been renewed, please, come on. We are better than that. Yeah, many of us are educated, we are exposed. I think many of us are accomplished. So it's not helpful for us to be always go there and start arguing. What? You've killed the people to be a president. And then you want us to be there saying, hey, you know, the man was voted. Come on. No, that's not how countries, that's not how civilizations work. I believe that even abusing the rights of one Ugandan so that we elect a president is bad enough. But the point where you have more than 100 people killed, thousands and hundreds and thousands kidnapped and tortured, and you say every 5 years you have a new mandate? By the way, let me say this, Simon. I believe that my view is that, especially looking at this debate of yesterday, this violence of yesterday, the coffee bill, because we had violence during the Tojukatako campaign, the military attacking parliament and just causing mayhem. Now, all of a sudden, we have it on coffee. Coffee, which we are growing, we as Ugandans, you're asking yourself, these people in the parliament and Museveni, who are they fighting? On something, we are the ones growing the coffee. They are not growing it.
Yeah, because you
now they are there fighting. Eh? Now they are there fighting.
Yes.
Yes. So the point I'm making is that when you, my view is that seeing what happened yesterday, I actually believe now that probably Museveni has never left Ruwero. His bush mentality, his bush agenda has remained consistent. It is Ugandans, I think, who have changed. So because you see, he went to Ruwero, he lost an election. Nagende Ruwero kulwana. Narwana olutalo.
Naruwangwe.
Naruwangwe. So he wanted to capture power, the way he always say, he captured it. And he's planning to keep it, retain it and keep it.
Yes.
So in other words, every time, if he feels that what you, Simon, and Godber and others are doing is likely to compromise his hold on power, he brings back his Ruwero tactics. That's basically what you saw in the parliament yesterday.
Would you blame Museveni for yesterday's violence?
He's the commander-in-chief.
Was he in parliament?
No, he's the commander-in-chief.
Did he command any violence?
Of course.
How?
But the people who were there were security people. They are under his command.
This is an MP and an MP boxing each other.
No, the people who went, because you see, you may have seen who was boxing between that MP and between the two MPs. My problem was actually more about these plain clothes security people who were carrying women physically from parliament. That level of violence is just for uncivilized societies. So we are just an uncivilized bunch of people that we can accept to be ruled this way. We are a bunch of uncivilized people.
Omanyi Godber njatukkirize. Museveni ayinza okuba mubi. ne wali we tutamunenyeza teyabadde mu parliament beemupiiba mwe be balina empisa bweziti ensiwuufa abaagala okuwa beekubye ebikonde bokka.
Let me tell you, Simon, I'll give you examples. When the court annulled I think there was the referendums and the referendum and other provisions act, Museveni went on TV and threatened everybody.
True.
When the judges, I think this was the Black Mamba attack on the High Court.
True that.
Museveni, I think that time he even put on a military uniform to go and threaten everybody. So, if President Museveni wanted to create a discourse that is more, that enables us to think and project a future that is more promising and more, that is more promising, an attack on the Ugandan parliament, because that's an attack. Whether it was Tojiko Atako, whether it was this yesterday, Museveni should be addressing the nation and condemning those kinds of actions. Whether he condemns the MPs, whether he condemns security, that's his business. But as a president, part of your job is to give credence and protect the institutions of state, the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. That is your job. Your job in the constitution.
Godber, let's review yesterday. What was at stake?
Yeah.
Yesterday.
What was at stake? I even don't know, because there was nothing at stake.
The coffee farmers remain coffee farmers. Everybody has liberty to grow coffee if they so wish. This coffee will certainly be sold, bought by someone. What was it that the opposition needed to put up the spirited fight they did? What was it?
So are you saying that was the opposition?
Started from Zake.
Okay, so let me ask you. There was a bill. All the work of UCDA is going back to the ministry. What problem was the government trying to solve?
Duplication.
Duplicating
extra
what?
costs.
Which cost?
That the very function that UCDA is doing can be handled under means of agriculture, will reduce the cost. Because under government's rationalization, but look here, when I talk to intellectuals, I want to reason differently. We are saving 2.2 trillion shillings in rationalization.
Yes.
Yeah? Yeah. Our budget for elections this year, 2025 and 2026, is 1.1 trillion, meaning that from rationalization alone, we have saved 2.2 trillion, and we are able to handle our elections sufficiently at 1.1
Of course,
trillion.
Your example is an anomaly, because there is no reason why we should be spending 1.2 trillion on an election. It's not necessary. We can do it cheaply.
How?
So, but let's go back to the coffee. First of all, when you are rationalizing, you are supposed to be dealing with the entire system of government.
True.
Because to where we are now, we have a bloated government across the board. The executive, the legislature. I would take out the judiciary, because I think that's where we need probably more people. But the executive, the legislature, that's bloated. So in other words, those are things to rationalize. Number two, right now, I think you agree with me, Simon, that ministries they are just inefficient entities. They are inefficient because I work with them, remember.
Oh, dear.
To think. They come to me and we work. We've prepared the papers. The one thing I've not told, I normally don't talk about, is that sometimes I have prepared the cabinet memos that go to cabinet, because that's my trade. And when I do them, when I work with ministries, I'm not, because some of you guys normally say we are NRM government. I don't work with NRM. I work with the government of Uganda. There's a government of Uganda under the constitution.
Yes.
That government will be there, whether there is NRM, whether there is FDC, whether there is NUP. So for me, those are just transient groups. They will disappear. Uganda will remain.
Government remains.
Government remains. So there is this government that I work with, because I think I am making a contribution to my country. So those ministries are so inefficient. If I was an advisor to Museveni, and I'm advising on rationalization, even putting these agencies, I would say I need to start with the ministries and say, can I create these into efficient units? These entities would be going into efficient units. When you bring them into inefficient units, the distortions you create, you are going to begin to see them.
So you don't trust where they are going?
Not at all. I can't trust it because I know how the ministries run. But then on the other side, UCDA, and this is the misleading narrative that you guys give, the government of Uganda give. We are saving. Yeah, they are statutory bodies and autonomous bodies that are irrelevant. They should be wound up. But if you have a sector like coffee is the most strategic crop in this country. In fact, coffee right now is Uganda's oil because it is important in terms of livelihoods.
True.
Supposing over 2 million Ugandans directly. It is important in terms of our national economy. It's also a strategic national security crop. Because if you have a crop that is bringing in almost close to 20% of your revenues, that's not a joke. So you don't want to just distort it with these kinds of narratives that we've seen. So this year, coffee brought in over $1 billion.
So it was
$1.144 billion.
Yes.
UCDA, their budget for this year was $18 million. Yeah? So if we assume, let's assume that UCDA is your entity that helps you to drive the coffee sector. If you are spending $18 million to generate 1.44 billion, and then you are saying there is wastage, then you don't have a business mindset. So the only thing that because farmers, me, I'm a farmer, I'm a coffee farmer, and there are many of them. I am on a coffee forum where everybody says we need UCDA to remain.
Let me ask you a pedestrian question.
Yes.
Uganda earned $1.144 billion from coffee this year.
Yeah.
Do you think if there was no UCDA, wouldn't have earned that?
Now, actually, there is a possibility that we could have earned it. We could also earn it even if there was no Minister of Agriculture.
No.
We could still earn it.
No.
Yeah, because from 2017, from 2017, Simon, 2017 to today, I have developed 40 acres of coffee. Yeah?
Sure, yes.
Yes. So why would I say, what has Minister of Agriculture got to do with my 40 acres of coffee?
But as a student of strategic governance, does it sound sweet for you to say that a whole Minister of Agriculture, now look at ministry like it happens elsewhere, a whole Minister of Agriculture cannot supervise a single crop called coffee? Is that indictment fit?
Of course it has not supervised livestock. You know, the almost the annual declarations of foot and mouth disease. Do you know how livestock people suffer with foot and mouth disease? This is a disease that is known for livestock for generations. And you have a government that has been in power for 40 years and you can't find a solution for foot and mouth disease. And you have a ministry, with these so many human beings. Simon, you guys...
Is UCDA not an organ of government?
Of course it is.
It was an agency of government.
Of course.
So we are moving it from government to government.
Yeah, but
why this whole
no, okay, the question is, the coffee production has been going up. Yeah?
Because of UCDA?
No.
Okay.
And I'm just saying, it has been going up. Coffee production has been going up. There is UCDA, there is Minister of Agriculture, and other agencies. So in other words, the sector is growing. Yeah?
Yes.
So, are you saying that by moving UCDA to agriculture, we will have a much more faster growth? Is that what you are suggesting? Because the actions you make in a sector that is growing should be to accelerate growth.
True.
We have a standard saying in public policy that if it ain't broken, don't fix it. So what is broken in the coffee sector that is being fixed by taking UCDA to agriculture? What exactly is broken? Because the one of cost cutting, that's a completely different matter altogether. Yeah, because if this sector is not broken, I am spending, let's assume that the sector, we are spending 18 million on UCDA. What I need to do, because the sector is growing with this institutional architecture, where you have UCDA and Ministry of Agriculture, the sector is growing. What I need to do is to say, what else do I need to achieve? Remember, there is a strategy, I think 2021 to 2025. That's a strategy with very clear objectives. So I have my two agencies that are the drivers, UCDA, agriculture. If the sector is growing, what I need to do is to say, what do I need each of these to do? So
we are doing with the postmortem. UCDA is back to Ministry of Agriculture.
Yes.
What next?
What next? Oh, no. They what? First of all, for the coffee farmers need to know that the debate about UCDA moving into agriculture was not a coffee debate.
What was it?
No, that it's something different, because if it was a coffee debate, they wouldn't even have...
Katuchidde mu Luganda, yabadde ya mwanyi.
Si ya mwanyi. Singa yali ya mwanyi, tewandibaddewo olutalo.
Wabadde twogera ku mwanyi.
Lwaki mwagenda mu kulwana? That the thing is so bad.
Because wali batugamba Museveni ave ku mwanyi yaffe. It was pure about ave ku mwanyi yaffe. Kolera le mwanyi gire. Because it was about mwanyi.
No, so this is what I'm saying. That I think that the coffee, the debate was actually more political. It's about power relations. It's about
ebintu birabuti obirawa. Ozobera kira. The Inside Out ends here. Wait for Godber Tumushabe, our next episode on elections in Uganda, because he seems to be one of those who do not believe in what it is. So, Zessa Simon Muyanga Lutaya.
This is Inside Out.